Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Francis Leung. It's our honor to be here to send you a very simple message. The message is BIM journey started in New World. We have started this journey for a few years. And so today we want to give you a little bit of information about what we have done so far. And we have a vision in the future. A few months ago, we have an internal management forum with 200 top senior coming together with this topic, amalgamating knowledge, capital, and knowledge, and technology. So for this topic, in terms of building, we know that it's BIM. After this event, at the end of the event, we have all the BUs come up with their work plan about the future. And most of the BUs come up with BIM in their work plan. It's not just our construction team, but also project management, also sales department, shopping malls. Many BUs put BIM in this. So we, New World, I think is quite a limited number of this kind of enterprise that go for this BIM in a corporate level. With this topic, we established our knowledge portal. Our knowledge portal, what does it mean? It means in our building industry, we are facing a lot of challenges. One of the big challenges is we have a lot of different sources of information coming from many different disciplines. In the past, we have only had 3 disciplines for professionals, and now we have 30. And because of diversification, because of specialization, we have all this so-called multi-source of information. And then our role is to put all the information together. We consolidate this information, we coordinate this information, and in some cases, we need to collaborate. We need to have some input to make sure the design is good enough for construction. In the past, the work ends here because building is done by professionals. But nowadays, we have a lot of so-called laymen involved in the projects. We listen to our customers. So we need to make our projects or our design simple enough to be understood by them. So we go for visualization. We need to change our design or present our design in a very simple format so that they can comment, they can approve, and they can endorse our design. And if they have some comment, and if we have to address the comment, we have to go back to the very beginning and to get the information again and to go through the whole process. The most important part is that at the end of this path, we need to make a set of simple, clear construction information for our construction. So we call this a knowledge portal. This is our main process of our design and construction as a developer. And our target is to achieve the stakeholders' engagement. We wish the stakeholders are happier. They are involved in our design, so they like our design and they like our development. In New World Construction, we have started some progress in BIM. We selected these 7 items to become the main part of our projects. So we call it full BIM. We put all these 7 items in our projects, becomes full BIM projects. They are, we call it VVMU, Virtual Visual Mockup, Information Hub, Drawing Coordination, CSD, Quantity Takeoff. We have our construction drawings, and also we have our area checking. So I can go through one by one for you. VVMU, it means we have to format our design into a very simple format, in a photorealistic format, and also in 3D, in panorama views. We let our boss see these images, see this panorama, before he can approve the design. And if he's not happy with the design, we have to revise the design and refine the design to make sure this output is good enough for his approval. And then based on this result, we create drawings, we produce drawings for the construction. Information hub, simple. We want to collect all the information, no matter it's permanent works, temporary works, or even the surrounding areas. For what reason? No reason. We just want to store everything, all versions. So we have a centralized database. Then we can go for the design coordination. Because we built our BIM model from the information collected, during the process, we can identify a lot of problems, errors, and coordinate issues. So we can raise all this, we call it RFC, so request for clarifications. So ask the professional to clarify which information is correct. And then we can keep track on all these issues. And we want to make sure at the end of the day, all these issues are clarified. All problems are sorted before we go for the construction on site. Then we have CSD. The building surface is always the most important part for the BIM developments. Everybody wants BIM in E&M. And after these 10 years, we all understand it's very difficult. It's not easy. We are a bit lucky. We can build our model from our design drawings, and also because we are newer construction, we have a role to produce this CSD for the coordination. And so it's an obvious solution saying we need to use BIM for our CSD production. We build model, and most important part is we produce all these drawings. And you can see the drawings here is a little bit different from the traditional CSD. One obvious item, of course, is color. But more important, you can see all the text, all the lines around the drawings are gone. We provide the numbering system, and we put all the text under the drawings. We said this is a new format of our CSD. It's not in the industry, but because we are in-house, so we can have invent these new formats for our use. So our subcontractors, our NSC, our workers can use this kind of new format. So our drawings are more clear for their use. And then we have the quantity takeoff. Quantity takeoff means all information except rebars. We can get it out from our BIM. And these quantities are used by our QS staff for our budget control, for our subcontracting, for everything. Most important part is the concrete. They like the concrete quantities because it's easy. Once we have the model, we have the quantities. So in the quantities presentation, we don't have just a total number. We have all the breakdowns. So we can trace all these quantities. And also, together with the numbers, we have the drawings. We have the floor plans, we have a color plans to show what is in the model. And that means whatever they put in for the parameters, we can see it from the drawings. So to make sure we have a set of drawings together with a set of quantities that is traceable. Everybody understand whether there are any mistake in it, or if there's any mistake, we can rectify it. And then we have this CIA. So this is my new invention. So I call it Construction Information Anywhere. What it means is, before we have some management system, document management system to manage all our drawings, information. It's quite complicated. We have a lot of versions, we have a lot of sources, but we don't know whether all this information can come together to be correct. Now we have all this information, we process it in BIM, and then we produce our output. And then we centralize all our output in a web-based format. All participants in our projects use the information from this platform. So they don't need to worry about the version. In the past, you always say, so which version are the most updated, or which part is the most updated? No, there's only one version in our website. It's just like a web page. You don't need to care about what is in the past, but what is current. So all the current information are here. So what is it in it? We have drawing register. The drawing register is the drawing we receive from our professionals. In the drawing register, we have modeling progress. So which drawing we have modeled percentage, what percentage is it. And then we have a RSC format. In the past, we have the coordination, then we have the RSC summary. Then we can keep track on whether these RFC are addressed or not. Then we have the RFC plans. Later I can show you the RFC plan. It's another big invention, a very powerful invention. And then we have all the BD approval plan. In the past, on site, we need to keep a set of approval plans so BD staff come to inspect, they can inspect. Now we have this platform, so they can have this information. And then we have the VVMU output, and we have the construction drawings. So these construction drawings are not those construction drawings produced by the professionals. It's the construction drawings output from BIM. So the construction drawing format is as good as traditional construction drawing. And then we have the quantities, and also we have the construction planning animation. So when people ask whether about the program, we don't have the program here. If you want to see the program, you need to watch the animation. So here is the RFC plan. We call it Hong Luk Dang. On the plan, we have yellow items. Yellow items are all the items that we have raised our RFC. So that means they have problems. The red labels are those RFC that is raised but is not resolved. And then we have green items, means those RFC are resolved. So we have this all the time, always update. And what we want is, say one day tomorrow we need to pour concrete on this level. We show this plan to our project managers and ask them to endorse. You know there are so many problems in the design. Are we going to pour the concrete tomorrow? If you pour the concrete tomorrow, you know all this problem will happen on site. And then you have to reserve some budget to rectify it. So this is a very good tracking way to see before construction whether we still have problem. Or one day we see all the yellow gone and all the red become green, and then we know, we are confident enough that our design is good enough for our construction. And this is the last invention. It's quite recent. We have the area checking. So we follow the BD approval requirement. We set up everything in our BIM. We have tested, we have checked 3 sets of approval drawings from 2 projects. And we found calculation errors in all these 3 sets. So in the future, whenever we have a set of new GBP, we have the new sets of the area, we will put it into our model, and then we will check whether this is correct or not. Later, we will have a button. So just press the button, we can see the result. This button will be shared with buildings department to see whether they love it or not. And we have our standard. We have our BIM standard, 3 BIM standards. One is the modeling standard. Tell you how to model your model to get the correct result. And the second one is the workflow. We change the workflow. If you don't change the workflow, BIM doesn't work. We change the workflow, so we have to lay down saying, so in order to do this, how do we do it? Mainly it's about CSD. For the whole CSD process, we change the workflow. Otherwise, I can tell you, you will never reach the zero clash CSD. And then at the end, we have the standard output. So we know what we are going to produce from BIM. We have drawings, we have animations, we have BD submission drawings. So all these are in the output standard. So because of these 3 standards, it becomes a very good foundation or backbone for our BIM development. I would say BIM journey in New World is very enjoyable because we don't need to ask why. We don't need to ask how, because we have a team of BIM to produce all this information, to produce modeling. We just need to know what and when, and then we will have the result. And we have our BIM mission. What we see is BIM is not just a construction model. Because of the demand in the building engineering efficiency and user engagement, we use BIM for the sustainability design decision-making tool. And we want to use BIM to enable our so-called bespoke facilities. So the BIM development in New World is a little bit different from other places because we use it for our corporate level. We use it for our enterprise. So all the BUs from development to operators, for all the disciplines, we put it in our BIM to enjoy the real value or real benefits of BIM. That is all I want to say today. Thank you very much.